Merry Christmas everybody and welcome at E36 and E46 vlog 57 M.A.F. So today we're going to talk and install the new mass airflow sensor. We have the box over here and we're going to show you the part number. So these mass airflow sensors, you have them in three categories. You have them knock off from about 40 or 45 euros. Then you have the OA, so the OEM quality without the BMW logo on it. And then you have the OEM, so the original BMW. This is very important that it gives the right data. And when they're dying or when they're broke, they don't give the right data. So also because it's Corona, it's pretty hard to send the parcel and get them on time. And also it can damage. So that's the reason why I choose this OEM quality. I also showed the video Siemens one to the BMW dealer and I said for how much you can deliver the original one. So we picked the original one with discount. Normally it's around 400 or 500 euros and I don't see a BMW logo anywhere, but I assume it's like A+ quality. So we went for the original one. Also the air filter, I downgraded from a Simonta airbox to a K&N inlay filter to this BMW original filter, and I did that. What? I did that because I don't want any oil to come on the sensor of the mass airflow sensor. So I went to this standard stock OEM filter. So the best filter that you can buy is this OEM BMW filter. And if you have the money for around 400 or 500 euros, you can also buy the BMW performance filter. It was around $1,000, but they lowered the price. But I saw some guys calculating it and it's like $80 for 1 horsepower, and you get like 8 or 9 horsepower on top of it. So it's not much, but like 5 horsepower you don't feel that. Anything higher you can feel it a little bit. So this one you can feel, only it's very expensive. And then the vacuum caps, these little 750 rubber vacuum dops, they call it vacuum dops in the Netherlands. They can crack like a lot and they can attract, I don't know if you can see it like this, but I have a movie of it anyway, I'm going to show you. And then they can attract a lot of false air. It's pretty hard to reach. It looks simple, but I'm not going to lie, it is pretty hard. But I already did that and I'm going to show you the movie about it. And then I'll come back to tell you more about the products that I'm going to install, and I'm going to install them, and we also have to erase the data. So I come back to you guys later. Just on time. Shit, I forgot to put the power cable back on the plastic. So I have to open it again, so I'm going to wait till the rain goes away. taking out your MAF sensor and your air filter box is like super easy. You can choose to take the half or the top of your air filter together with the MAF sensor out, and then the bottom of your air filter box. And I'm going to take the whole unit, so the air filter together with the MAF sensor out just at once, and that's like super easy. You can do that right behind of your house on the doorstep. So that's what I'm going to do. After that I'm going to put in the new OEM inlay filter, and before I'm going to do that I have to clean the air filter box to get all the oils and dirt out, and then we have to reset the data, and then we're done. So it's super easy. It's a little bit expensive, but it could change a lot on your fault codes and your driving abilities, and also your fuel consumption. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to show you guys how I do it. Like I said, super easy, and yeah, you'll see. Okay, everything has been cleaned and it is pretty straightforward like I told you before. tip, make sure there's no water inside your air filter house, so clean it. The filter goes into the bottom. Like you saw, I had to take out the rubber for the K&M filter, so that is the only thing for that part. Make sure you have all your clips. You can order them separately if you have lost one. Then the top, it's like pretty straightforward, but you can see there's an arrow. Where is it? Right here. So that's the airflow, and you have to make sure that it's all tightened up here against the rubber. So you really have to like wiggle it in, push it all the way there. If you just put it in, there's a space between it and there can be more dirt or it could leak air over there. So you have to wiggle it all the way to the filter housing. And you have to make sure that, it's going to be like this. The stacker is going to be at the right side of the car or the air filter. So it has to be over here. So I'm going to mount them and put them back in the car, and then we're going to reset the data. Okay, how does it work? I drawed it out as simple and clear as possible. Of course there are some more sensors in your engine, but the air is coming through here. Your mass airflow sensor is measuring how much air is coming in. It tells it to the ECU, go like this, and the ECU calculates how much fuel to give to your fuel injector. So if your M.A.F is dying, it gives the wrong data. If it's already dead, it doesn't give any data. It gives the wrong data to the ECU and you get too much fuel or too less fuel, so you get a rich or poor mixture, and you can get fault codes, or your fuel consumption can get up, or the idle is not going to be good, or anything else. So this is how it works. Your M.A.F is saying how much air to your ECU, and the ECU say how much fuel to your fuel injectors. So when you mount your new M.A.F sensor, you can do 5 things. Number 1 is you can just drive your car and let your ECU automatically adapt to your new data. You need a few cold starts and about 40 miles or 70 kilometers to let it get learned in with the new data. Number 2 is you can use your key and some knob combinations to reset your gas pedal response and stuff like that. And number 3 is you can take off your battery. You can take off the black one, the black cable, so the minus, and you can leave it off for one night, and then the ECU starts resetting itself. What you can also do is take the red cable and the black cable and connect them together. It sounds really creepy, but it does work. You can also get the fuse of your ECU out, and then you also got a hard reset. What I'm going to do is I'm going for option number 5. I'm going to connect OBD computer to the E46, and I'm going to try to reset everything so the new M.A.F sensor and the ECU can start learning right from the spot. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. And then I'm going to come back to you guys when I got my computer and get this little man back inside. So when you want to reset stuff with your OBD computer, always put your E46 in position 1 or in 2, but never with a running engine. That's bad for your ECU. You can blow it up, and it also can cause that the fault code that you erased come back because your computer get confused. So always put it in position 1 or 2, but not with the running engine. So this mid-level OBD2 reader cannot do a hard reset on my ECU. You really need programs like IMPA or Insta, I believe it's called, to do a hard reset on your ECU. What you can do is take the fuse off or take the black cable, like I said before, take it off and leave it there for a night, and your ECU starts resetting itself. Some guys swear that you can put the red cable against the black one, put them together, and it also attracts all the energy inside your car. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you why, because there are sensors like your steering wheel angle, and it's going to erase maybe that one as well, I don't know, and I don't know if I can put that one back. So I'm not going to take that chance. The other thing is my M.A.F sensor was dying, it wasn't dead yet, so I only going to need a few cold starts in a closed loop and in an open loop, because your O2 sensor doesn't work, and 70 kilometers with a closed loop when your O2 sensors are working, to learn in the new data in your ECU. Then why I'm going in, why I already did it, why I exchanged my M.A.F sensor, it's because the fuel consumption went way up, and I'm hoping that it's going down by doing this. Also, I have like a rough idle, and I had some misfires, and that are causes because of the mass airflow sensor, and there are multiple things that could happen to your car if you have a bad mass airflow sensor. So I'm going to put them down below in the description, so maybe you see something there that's the case with your E46, and you might want to exchange your mass airflow sensor as well. I bought my car at around 220, and now I almost got 400,000, so it only lasts for at top 200,000, so my M.A.F sensor was dying for sure, so that's why I exchanged it. Now I'm going to put in some gas, because it is very important that you have the right fuel pressure, or else the computer thinks that it has to work with a low fuel pressure. So I'm going to the gas station now, and then I'm going to come back to you guys. So the E46 doesn't start. I hope it's my battery. Like I told you before, I have a bigger battery in the car, and I just wrote that if you have a bigger battery, you have to fill that in the ECU computer. But that's a thing for later. If you don't do that, it still works, but it has more reserve. So in case like this, if your battery is low, you can still start your car, and in this case you can't. So I'm going to check the battery voltage, and then I'm going to put my audio battery on for my E36. I forgot to tell you guys, there are two main reasons why I swapped my mass airflow sensor. One, I already told you, the fuel consumption went up. That's also because of the 0W40. But the second thing is the idle. And I don't mean the rough idle at the beginning at the cold start with an open loop, but I mean the idle when I'm driving. It's pretty hard to keep it steady, so my RPM, I see it going up and down. So that means that the computer has to recalculate the whole time to give the right amount of fuel. And I hope with the mass airflow sensor that it's going to be steady again, because it gets the right data and it don't have to recalculate all the time. So that's the two main reasons why I exchanged it for a new mass airflow sensor, and I want the data as be perfectly as possible, so I used the OEM version. So I'm now going to get the volt reader, the new battery, the audio battery, and I'm going to try to start the E46. AGM battery doesn't like this, but we have to do it. So I don't see anything strange on the idle, it's pretty steady already. But the fuel consumption is like way up, and it's normal that it has to learn in again the new data. But it was all the way up to 20, and it still is. And that's the case when your M.A.F sensor is broken. Then it's going on like too rich fuel. But then on the other hand, the car doesn't start, and it has a really rough idle, and it's not the case, so I hope it's learning right now. I'm going to go on the highway, and then we'll see if it changes. everything over 11.4 is acceptable, and it's getting there, and also the RPM is really steady, so that's a good thing. So I'm going to drive it a little bit more to see on what numbers we can get, and yeah, it looks great till I can see from now. So I feel like way more power at the bottom, and in sport mode also at the top. Always put in E5 gasoline, but don't go buy premium gasoline or from E10 to E5 just because you bought yourself a new mass airflow sensor, because the ECU has to learn with what fuel it has to drive. So have a Merry Christmas, and don't drink and drive and crash your E46. Peace.